Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome to today's session. We are going to look at an editorial from the Indian Express from today's paper, 16th of May 2020. And this passage, basically the reason I've chosen it is so that we understand how to look at author's tone. Okay, so that is our main focus when we are looking at this passage. So the title of the passage is Taking the Cake. Again, this is an idiomatic expression. I will be explaining this in a few minutes. So look at the gist of the paragraph. So the author says, she or he, the author is trying to give us the gist through this quick summary. It says, and singing and dancing in the line of duty may be finally bringing police force out of the colonial era, right? The colonial era refers to the English rule, when the English ruled over India, right? Now, as usual, I'm not going to read the entire passage sentence by sentence. I believe you can do it on your own. So just take the time to do it. So look at the first line, right? Here the author is referring to the coronavirus without actually naming it, okay, in the first line. And then the author says it is also changing institutions which are long in the tooth. This is again an idiom. So that comes as second idiom. Then for vocabulary, I will be underlining some of the words I think can be discussed. So the author says, again, please focus on the tone. The author here is saying the courtroom, which is so hallowed that seating is reserved for lawyers, while litigants must huddle at the door, right? So, and now how that is changed because of COVID-19, how we're using the internet for court proceedings. Vocab, ether. So this was reported in the news, I think early March. Basically, this lawyer was from Rajasthan, and while he was attending court, he was not wearing the designated robe. Rather, he was not even, he was just in his comfortable home clothes. And here the author refers to it. They say that he was wearing a banyan, which is your undershirt. So ironically, courts subsequently urged lawyers to drop the gown of office, right? So this we looked at yesterday when we looked at important news. This was highlighted there. So because now they're saying the gown could be a carrier of the virus. And the author also says this gown is actually a relic from the past. So we'll discuss that. Second paragraph. If you're timing yourself, I think you should try and read it under a minute. So here the author is coming to the heart of the discussion, right? She's talking about how the police force is changing, how their role is somehow changed because of COVID-19. And then the author reiterates about community policing. Now, what is community policing? I'll discuss that also in a minute. So when we come to the conclusion, right, the author is again reiterating about the changes in the police force. Now, once you've finished reading this passage, you will understand that the author is in favor of community policing. So I just like to highlight what community policing is. It's basically a system of allocating police officers to particular areas. And this is mainly done so that the police is familiar to the people in that area, and the people in that area try and engage with the police force on a one-on-one basis. So therefore, as a community, the people's trust builds within the with respect to the police force. The main idea is to build trust. When you're working closely with the police and letting them know about your problems or whatever, like in this case, the author has highlighted a few things. They said bringing birthday cakes to home, or donating blood for certain patients, and so on, right? And also, very importantly, the author is also talking about how the Chinese physiognomy, right? Here it says the Chinese physiognomy. What that means is that the northeastern part of Indians kind of share certain facial features which make them and then you know that it indicates their ethnic origin. And a lot of people are subjected to certain harassment due to that. So the police has largely helped in making sure that they're not being thrown out by the landlords and so on, right? So they're saving them. Saving is given here. Okay, so I hope you've all read the passage by now. That was roughly about a couple of minutes, I think. So let's look at the vocabulary words for today. I've highlighted them here in this column. First we look at the words, and then we look at the idioms or idiomatic expressions used in this passage, and a few common phrases. So with regards to vocabulary, simply there are about 7, right? Okay. Hallowed. Hallowed basically means greatly revered or honored, right? Litigant is a person who's involved in a lawsuit. Ether, it's basically a medium. Like for example, for your radio signals you have air, right? So here it's a medium. The internet was the medium in this particular passage. Relic, a person or thing that's survived from an earlier time. That's very simple. Demeanor, it's basically the outward behavior of someone or their bearing. The next word is physiognomy. Again, a person's facial features, especially when regarded as indicative of where they come from or what their character is, what kind of character they have, or their ethnic origin. It can mean so many things, right? And leitmotif is a recurrent theme associated with a particular person. In this passage, they have said the lathi is the leitmotif of police force in India, because when you're talking about law and order situations, or when the police force is called in large numbers, especially in riot situations and so on, you associate the police with the lathi. Okay, let's look at the idioms in this particular passage. We have the title of the passage, Take the Cake. Now this is basically take the cake in old usage is basically it's a symbolic price. This comes from rural England, when the expression was used a lot. That's an old usage. It's a symbolic price. But in the current passage, the meaning of the idiom is slightly different. The meaning of the idiom is the most outstanding in some respect. Now this can be either negative or positive, right? And the author is taken it in the positive way. So if you're being sarcastic, you can say take the cake to show how sarcastic you are about a certain situation. But in this particular passage, the author is taken take the cake in a positive manner. Long in the tooth, the author is referring to how institutions are changing, and how basically it's the meaning of the idiom long in the tooth just means it's rather old. Okay, now the idiom has a very interesting origin. It's basically to do with horses, and when you went to buy a horse, you would gauge its age by looking at the teeth. So the longer the tooth, the older the horse. That's how they understood. So it's possible to give an approximate age of a horse simply by looking at its teeth, because its teeth grew with time. Now, an associated idiom that comes to mind is don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? So it's basically, again, it refers to evaluating the age of the horse. Now, the meaning is very different. When they say don't look a gift horse in the mouth, they're saying don't question the value of a gift. Here, long in the tooth, again, the meaning is very different. The longer the teeth of a horse, the older it is. So here the meaning is it's rather old. The last idiom for today is pounding the pavement. Now here the author said to control to control the infection, right? Tirelessly pounding the pavement to contain infection and trace contacts. So because of that, so the author has used the idiom pounding the pavement. It simply means to travel on foot, literally walk a lot. So that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.